Ian Trottier for Discussion of Truth. Clay Clark, by far the best freedom movement happening in the country, in my opinion, Josh, is Clay Clark's Reawaken Tour. It just simply is. It simply is. He's got the best movement going, and it started in Tulsa. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm joined right now. This is why I wanted to break in right now. I'm joined right now by Josh Yoder, and Josh, explain for listeners what was happening here. You were scheduled, and I've got people in Florida that says, I can't wait to listen to this guy, and he never came on. You never came on. Okay, so you were scheduled Wednesday, but you didn't. What happened there? What happened?
Well, that was directly my fault. I had a legal call that popped up last minute, and in conjunction with that, days that I was supposed to have off at my airline were ripped away from me, and I was making emergency plans to try to get to San Antonio to still pull this thing off. And in all the chaos, I completely forgot that I had media with you. So I sincerely apologize, and I'm super grateful to be here today.
So we're laughing about it because initially your assistant or whoever's doing your scheduling says, Josh can join the show because I initially had somebody else scheduled, so I wanted to make room for you, and so the 5:45 mark Eastern Standard, and then I'd gotten back to your schedule, and I says, can he join at the quarter mark of the hour, the initial quarter mark? Let me see. Yes, and so I'm running the show and waiting. Well, he's going to call in. So anyway, what was the legal issue there? It was update listeners in regards to what happened there.
Sure. So it wasn't a legal issue that we're having. It's a legal issue that the federal government has. And so it was a call with our attorneys and all the people that are involved with that. We're getting ready to sue the Biden administration on behalf of these mandates. What they're doing is completely unconstitutional, and we're fighting back. That's what U.S. Freedom Flyers is doing. It was started by airline professionals, honestly, in a hotel room.
So you're the president.
Essentially, we're just a grassroots movement. I'm not the president. I have co-founders in the movement.
You fly for?
I fly for a major U.S. carrier who I'm not at liberty to say who that is. But ultimately, I've seen this tyranny that's been creeping in across our country for many years, long before COVID even happened. And it kind of came to a head for me.
Military?
Previously, yes, and defense contracts for many years. So sitting in a hotel room August 6th, and I was just paying attention to what was happening. I saw that United Airlines came out with their mandates, even prior to a federal mandate. And they said, we're going to fire everyone who doesn't get jabbed. And that really irritated me. So I reached out to a friend, and we started having a discussion. I think it was August 7th. I wrote to Stu Peters, and he was very gracious. He brought me on his show on August 11th. And we kind of depicted the tale between two airlines, how United was handling their situation versus another major airline. And that got people to start reaching out. And that's when we started this grassroots movement. It started on Telegram. We're currently no longer on Telegram in any official capacity, but we have our website. It's usfreedomflyers.org. So,
why aren't you on Telegram?
Telegram turns into an echo chamber. And it's very difficult, because we have like 26 airlines as well as other industries that we now represent. There are Telegram groups. They are just not official forms of communication for U.S. Freedom Flyers. So if you want official communication, go to our website, usfreedomflyers.org, click on Join the Fight, sign up for our emails, and if you can, donate to our legal cause. But that's how we'll keep you up to speed on what we're doing. Anytime we're doing events, we're building all kinds of alliances today, tomorrow, and it's just amazing, the people that are coming together. So we're going to be cross-marketing on lots of platforms, things that we're doing, and we'll be supporting other freedom events around the country.
So Josh, you saw, and I believe you used the word tyranny creeping into the country prior to this pandemic, if you will, the COVID-19. Talk a little bit about.
Sure. For many years, we've seen an erosion of our rights. Looking back at like 9/11 and the Patriot Act, that's really where this thing went into overdrive. And all those years that I spent overseas, I was seeing in other countries what I felt would probably come to the United States. Loss of freedoms, squeezes on supply chain.
Where were you seeing that? What countries?
All over Iraq, Afghanistan, Pakistan, all over Africa and South America. I've traveled extensively and worked all over the world.
Okay, so you're seeing these civilizations lose their rights.
That's correct, because of globalism. When you understand Klaus Schwab and the plan for globalism, the Great Reset, once you do your research there, then what you see happening with COVID in the United States starts to make sense to you. This isn't what they're telling you that it is. There are cures outside of getting a vaccine. A vaccine doesn't cure you. You can still get COVID, transmit COVID, and die from COVID. As a matter of fact, just due to the nature of the groups that I'm working with. I mean, I have pilots and flight attendants that reach out to me every day who've been vaccine injured. I mean, I have people who are paralyzed. Families, they said, hey, my family member got the jab and they were dead within 48 hours, blood clots, heart attacks. And we're building a database right now. We're doing an extensive data collection campaign at U.S. Freedom Flyers, both to build the membership because there's a lot of strength in numbers, but we're also collecting data on people who have been vaccine injured because it's very important that this information goes out to the Department of Transportation, the FAA, the government, as well as, if we can get these people to speak out. That's really what we need is these people to speak out. But obviously, people are afraid of that for obvious reasons.
Yeah. Okay. So you're talking. Yeah. You're really opening things up here with inserting Klaus Schwab in the Great Reset. How does that relate to the pandemic, the COVID-19 threat?
Well, this is about control. And the sooner that we realize that, the better off we're going to be. It's time for Americans to wake up. This is about shutting us down. You see the squeezes that are being put on supply chain. You see the way they're locking people down. There's a bill on the floor of the House right now. It's H.R. Bill 4980. It's really important that your listeners go look this up. It proposes that if you're unvaccinated, you can neither arrive nor depart a U.S. airport without showing a vaccination ID. Domestically, yes. And
so traveling interstate.
That's correct.
San Francisco to New York.
Yes.
Unable to make that trip via airline, or you're saying transportation.
All airports, not just commercial airports. Anything with an FAA identifier. That means if you have a Cessna and you're trying to fly across state lines, that
private aircraft.
Yes, that's correct. This is why it's important that passengers get involved.
This is passed in Canada. Is that correct?
Right.
Do you know that? That's passed in Canada.
Yeah, and that's what's coming here. You understand, like when you look at what's going on in Australia and Canada, that is coming here because it's part of the same plan. And it's time that people wake up to this. It's really important.
Josh,
I
what's the
can't
plan?
stress this enough. The plan is to fight back. We need every individual in this country to stand up and fight back.
Well,
let your representatives know that you don't agree with this and you're not going to tolerate it. Let the airlines know that you're not going to tolerate it. Honestly, let anyone that will listen to you, let them know you're not going to tolerate it. We have to stand up and unite as Americans.
What is the global? You use that word global, and certainly this is a pandemic, which means pan global, or without defining it per Oxford Dictionary or whatever. But what is this global agenda that you speak of?
Well, it's about control from a single point of control, world government. If you just go back and listen to the World Economic Forum, listen to Klaus Schwab, listen to Bill Gates, all these people, go do your own research and see what they actually say. Klaus Schwab actually made a statement. He said that for the fourth industrial revolution, the goal is ultimately to change you. Those are his words. So think about what you can find out about the COVID-19 vaccine and how it actually alters your genome. The goal is changing you. Understand that.
And what does Klaus Schwab have to do with the vaccinations or the injections?
I'm just telling people to go do your own research.
Okay.
I'm saying I'm very skeptical about what's going on. There's
right.
a lot of information. There's a lot of information online. There are books that address this. Go to DuckDuckGo and just put in the Great Reset. The Great Reset and the Fourth Industrial Revolution. See what he has to say about it, and then also go and research the vaccines and what they do to your genome. This is information that's out there. I believe you just interviewed people from America's frontline doctors. They're putting out a tremendous amount of information on what this vaccination program is actually doing to people.
Yes.
We know it's not helping people because
right.
people are getting sick,
right.
people are dying.
So it's not even a vaccination, really, by definition.
No, it's not a vaccination. It's a gene-altering therapy.
So this
ask yourself why.
Yeah. There's something hidden here. There's absolutely something hidden. Is there, Josh, in your research, is there an organization outside of the? Well, let me ask you this question. Let me ask you this question. All right. So a year ago in Doral, I'm with a former Google employee. His name is Zach Voorhees. He's known as the Google whistleblower. He just wrote a book. It's called Google Leaks. And we were able to grace the presence of the president. The sitting president, Donald Trump, and he had said, he'd called Zach, he'd singled him out, and he called him an American hero for blowing the whistle on Google. He had some very kind words to say for me. But prior to the Trump presidency, Josh, I don't remember anyone talking about this phrase, the deep state. What does this mean? You've traveled the world. You've seen civilizations lose their rights. You've seen the writing on the wall. You're saying, hey, guys, this is now happening here. Open your eyes. Wake up to this. Australia's a mess. Canada's a mess. This is coming here now.
Right.
What is you had Donald Trump talking about the deep state and fake news, which almost credits the program that I've began, because I'm getting people like yourself that are high level. They understand the intelligence community to some degree. It sounds like you said that you at some
the defense industry.
Defense industry, and I mean, Josh, I've had former CIA guy that Ray McGovern that hand delivered briefings to the sitting president in the 80s or 90s, early 90s, George Bush, hand delivery. This is high level. Coming onto shows like this that are not mainstream. So what is, in your view, Josh, what's the deep state? What is this?
Let me give you an example of what they're doing in Africa, and they're starting to do it here. So let's look at China. Specifically, when I lived in Kenya, China was coming in and they were offering money to the politicians, right, to build infrastructure. And so they would give money. They would give money for infrastructure, but what was happening to the citizens is that their mineral rights, rights to oil and all these different things were being given away. So they're coming into a country, they build a superhighway or a power grid or whatever it is that they're doing. But this is how they get control of the assets in that country. So the politicians get paid off. But then when the Chinese come in to build these roads, it wasn't African workers that were building them. They were Chinese. But now the government is beholden to the Chinese government. This is how the Chinese take over. They've been doing this for a very long time. And you see that happening here in our own country. They're buying up ports, they're buying up farmland, and they are also working to control the shipping industry. This is what's happening. And it is time that people open their eyes to this. That there's lots of information on it, but you do have to go dig for it.
So you think this is a Chinese stealth invasion of the United States, Josh?
I think that's partially what it is. I don't believe that's the only thing that it is. We have these large, massive multinational corporations that are working in conjunction with governments. I just had a conversation this morning with someone. I often say, coercion starts from the top down, when in regards to these mandates of the airline, which is one of the reasons that we're suing the Biden administration. But another point of view is, in many cases, it's the companies, these large companies, that are coercing the federal government through means of like lobby dollars and things like that. So which way is it? I think it's interchangeable almost.
Okay, so let me ask you this question. This is something that I've considered myself. I say, okay, look, at World War II, 1945, the Chinese adopt a central banking system. Okay, that's also the same year that the United Nations is chartered in San Francisco. And I look at this is all based off of a Chinese governance that we are told, right, in the U.S. we're told that they're communists. But then I look at this, Josh, and I say, wait a second, you got USSR, right, former Russia, USSR also adapting this same governance model, communism. So how is it that the Chinese and the Russians, or USSR, were working off this same kind of governance platform? They didn't start. I mean, the Chinese, these dynasties have been, they built a wall to defend themselves from invasion, right? I mean, this is not a conquering type personality, the Chinese, in my view, right? I mean, this isn't the people that have set sail to conquer the world. The Europeans have, right? Historically, it's been the Europeans that have done that. The Portuguese, the Spanish, the French, the English, and so on, right? So is it possible, Josh, that they are being force-fed this monetary system from somewhere that may be a common mechanism of control?
Yes, that is very true. What I would tell your listeners to look up is a book. It's called The Creature from Jekyll Island. That is a very good place to start. Once you read that book, read it again.
Who wrote it?
And then probably read it again. And that's going to give you information.
G. Edward Griffin.
Yes.
Former guest on this show, just so you know.
Oh, wow.
Sure,
interesting.
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
Tremendous. So, yeah, once you understand that book and the Federal Reserve and how it ties into everything, you'll have a much better understanding of what's happening in our country today.
So how do you relate that, Josh, for listeners? How do you understand? Now, I'm going to mention this to you. And look, listeners, you could have had Josh a couple days ago. You don't now. You've got him here. Okay, Josh. Let me just mention this. Anthony Sabatini is a Florida State representative. Joined my show 2 weeks ago. Running for a federal seat now. 33, law degree from the University of Florida. Smart guy. And I've been in contact with Ron DeSantis twice over the past year. about dismantling big tech and working with a couple different people in regards to that. It's a whole different conversation. And I want to get into your lawsuit or the Biden administration. But I got Anthony Sabatini here, sitting politician in the state of Florida, that says, Ian, the Federal Reserve Central Bank is unconstitutional and needs to be repealed.
That's true.
Talk about that, Josh.
That is absolutely correct. I'm not going to go into a lot of details on this. People need to read the book. But that absolutely needs to happen. That is the center of the power structure. They control the politicians. And this is what you see happening. They're tied into a global financial network that is not working in the best interest of world citizens. That I can tell you for sure. Okay.
Josh, tell listeners, as we wind down, tell listeners about this lawsuit that you have against the Biden administration and how that's going.
Sure. So we have not filed the lawsuit yet. We are currently in fundraising mode. It will be filed soon. We are working out the details. I was actually on that call when I was supposed to be on with you the other day, and which had me distracted. So we're still working out the legal strategy. But we're essentially going after the federal contractor mandate. That's what a lot of these airlines are hiding behind. And now there are other federal contractors that are asking to join U.S. Freedom Flyers because they want to be part of the lawsuit. So if this is something that your listeners would like to be involved in, please go sign up on our website, usfreedomflyers.org, click on Join the Fight, fill out the form, we intake your information, and then we'll keep you updated. Every Friday you'll get an email. If we're doing an event in your area, we can target localized areas. You know, like let's say we're going to do an event in Dallas. We'll email people in Dallas and say, hey, we're having a health freedom rally or whatever it is that we're doing in Dallas that day. So we won't spam you, but we would love for you to be involved. We're going to stop this when the average American citizen actually gets involved and does something.
Are you seeing any of that happen? Your organization is young. What, just weeks old now?
It's about 4 months old.
4 months,
I believe today, and it started with just a few people, and we're currently over hundreds of thousands and have international
international alliances.
Hundreds of thousands, international alliances. We have there's Australian Freedom Flyers. We have an alliance with a group in Europe and also in Canada. And it's growing by leaps and bounds. Really what's making us grow so quickly is the fact that passengers are realizing that what they're doing to us today, they're going to do to you tomorrow. So you need to get involved. If you believe in your freedom, you'd better get involved.
And how is this effort going? You don't have the lawsuit official yet, but you will be attacking the Biden administration. What exactly are you going after in the Biden administration?
So we're going after the federal mandate, the federal vaccine mandate. We believe that we have to dismantle it from the federal level and work down. If we just go through the companies, they're going to continue to hide behind the illegal Biden mandate. But once we get rid of the mandate, now any company who chooses to maintain a vaccine requirement, they have to take accountability for that. So they can no longer say, we're doing this because the federal government is making us do it. They're going to have to do it on their own accord, at which point we will sue them as well.
Josh, you were a pilot. You are a pilot. You're currently employed, major American airline. What have you told your airline? You've told them that you will refuse to get the inoculation as termed vaccination by the CDC?
Yes,
is that
absolutely.
What you've told them?
Yeah, they would have to terminate me. I will not take it under any circumstances.
You've told them that?
Yes, absolutely.
And how have they reacted?
I've made that very clear in media. I say that all the time.
How have they reacted?
They have not responded to me. So, I have not specifically emailed them and say, hey, please give me a response on this. But what we're doing at U.S. Freedom Flyers, another thing that we're doing, is we're helping people with Title VII issues. We're showing them how to do religious and medical exemptions. If you go into our resources tab, there's a massive amount of information that you can digest and learn how to protect yourself with religious and medical exemptions. And then we also have representation. Should these companies choose not to honor that, which it's a constitutionally protected right to be exempt from this, then we are partnered with Matt Staver and Liberty Counsel, who will be representing members of U.S. Freedom Flyers, should their companies choose not to honor their religious or medical exemptions.
Fantastic. Josh, thank you for your work and the movement that you're doing. And it's when I first heard, when I had first been told by a friend of mine whose husband is a pilot for Southwest, and she said, "Hey, Ian, look, there's a group of Southwest pilots that have organized, and they're revolting against any projected mandate that the CEO has said would be handed down. And my understanding is that the Southwest company has retracted that mandate, is not put into place because of these pilots." And I said to my friend, I says, "This is a major victory for American people, as you're talking about passengers, because that's exactly where I saw this going from. I saw this going, you attack the pilots first, you coerce them into getting this inoculation, and then it's going to trickle down to the passengers. And what that does, therefore, is people like myself, and even you, that's flying the plane, it cuts us off from the ability to have interstate travel.
And that cuts you off from that gives you inability to fight back. If you can't move, it's very difficult to organize. Exactly like what we're doing right here in San Antonio. We have come here from all over the country. Imagine if we lose that ability. It's going to be very difficult to organize. We cannot let this happen. It is time that all of us stand together and say no.
Yeah, and at the place of the Alamo, where Santa Ana, of course, was successful in his storm, but down the road there in Houston, we were successful. So, some final thoughts, Josh, for listeners. You're encouraged to get into the organization now. As Josh has clearly stated, this is not just an airline thing. This is echoing to all forms of transportation that cross state lines, and
it's for everyone. It's not just for the transportation sector anymore. That was the original vision, and I can tell you this thing has exploded. This is for everyone. If you care about your right to travel, you'd better.
And you're recently on Tucker, right?
That's correct.
How did that go with your time with Carlson?
It went well, and that really put us on the map. Really helped put us on the map in our numbers.
Is he supporting
exploded.
what you're doing?
He is, yes.
Okay. So get involved here. U.S. Freedom Flyers, U.S. Freedom Flyers.
.org.
If Americans fall to this invasion, we are being invaded, right? We call it communism. Let's call it communism, right, Josh? It's a communist invasion. Whether it's being perpetrated by the Chinese or from other angle, and I have my thoughts. I feel like I know exactly where it's coming from, and it's based in Europe. It's this Klaus Schwab type mechanism, which the facade is the World Economic Forum. So it's coming from these money managers that are based out of Switzerland. That's what I feel, Josh. If America falls to this regime, do you agree with the statement? If America falls, the global tyranny is installed.
That's correct. We are the last bastion of freedom on earth. We cannot let America fall. If America falls, there's no place to run to.
Josh, thanks for your time. Some final comments, please, for listeners. Some final comments.
Sure. Well, first
of all,
an apology. That would be. I definitely will start with the apology. I should have been on Wednesday, and I truly apologize for that. But I'm very happy to be on now. What I would ask is that you participate, that you go to usfreedomflyers.org, sign up. If you can help us with the lawsuits, please do so, because they benefit all of us. This is not just for employees anymore. This is for everyone, and it's going to affect your travel in the future. You know, if we were to lose, it would be devastating for freedom of travel.
And Josh, I'll put you in touch with RestoreLiberty.org, which are veterans that are organizing to uphold their oath to defend the Constitution.
And we would love to speak to them. We actually had the Marines reach out to us, and they are asking to come under the umbrella of U.S. Freedom Flyers.
Ladies and gentlemen, Josh Yoder. Josh, thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.